We're going to invite them to do a quick... Let's start with the... Let's see, who wants to go first? Delphine? Naila? Okay, let's go with Delphine. Alphabetically, I think D comes before N, even in ChatGPT. Over to you, Delphine.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Wings for organizing this and for organizing it here. I always find that when I come back from Africa, I have this sense of possibilities and innovation energy that we really can learn from, I think, as an old European continent. So thank you so much for that. I think the past few days have been really packed with learnings and with great conversations. But for me, they've also been quite packed with emotions. I think if I look back at where we started this conversation, this journey, a couple of days ago with thinking back at the existential risks that we're all facing as humanity and as a planet, looking at all the ways in which we fail as philanthropy, as a sector, as a society, to live up to the promise for the world tomorrow, I do feel that there are moments of kind of discomfort. I had moments of discomfort myself about my own role, about the role of our sector, and reflecting upon our ability of can we actually do something meaningful, taking into account the structures and institutions that we have and that we want. And somebody, of course, in the course of the couple of days, talked about how transformation oftentimes is a bit of an identity crisis. And it got me to reflect upon the fact that we're actually perhaps going through a bit of an identity crisis as a sector. We're asking ourselves, how on earth did we get here? Who are we? Should we even exist? Is one of the questions that we were asking ourselves over the past couple of days. But the thing for me is that that identity crisis is in fact a reflection of course, a much more urgent and deeper crisis, an existential crisis, a polycrisis for the world, and our crisis is actually echoing that crisis. It's an opportunity for us to reflect, to rethink, to introspect, and to look at what we could do differently. Because everything we care about, everything we work for, everyone we care for, is potentially at risk because of that crisis. So the identity crisis, in many ways, is a good thing. And I think, as with any crisis, we have the opportunity to either sit and wait for the change to happen to us, or to get a grip and decide on what we want the change to look like. So I do value kind of the provocations and the criticism that we've heard and the self-criticisms that we shared with each other around how we work. And I do agree with the fact that the system within which we operate is in many ways flawed, in the sense that accumulating wealth to the extent that it happens, leading to the injustices that we see and leading to failures that we see, is not something that we can continue to sustain on the long run. But I also believe in the plurality of responses. And I do believe that philanthropy, if it lives up to its promise, can play a really meaningful role in finding solutions to very complex societal issues, next to governments, next to the private sectors and others. A bit like as part of that triangle that Viala talked about yesterday. So maybe I think one of the invitations was to look at what this means for an infrastructure organization, because that's the role that I have as CEO of an infrastructure organization. And I think what it invites me to do is to really do my best at helping my membership, helping our community in taking a step forward from where they are, from where they sit, and from who they are, in leading towards doing becoming a sector that responds to the many challenges of today. So, and that answer isn't the same answer for everyone. I think it's going to be a different answer for every organization within my membership, and probably every organization in this room as well. But we can transform, and we can start a journey starting from here. So rather than kind of feeling defeated from what I heard, I want to think of what I can change. And I want to feel hope for the many things that I see happening today in the sector that are actually really exciting. And just to name a few, I'm really excited to see more collaboration between foundations, to see foundations take a really serious deep dive into what participatory grant making could look like, to think about longer, flexible core funding as the norm rather than the exception, to apply a diversity, equity and inclusion lens to everything they do and to how they work, to take decolonialization seriously and come up with ways for reparation and for compensation, to align their investment with their mission, to give young people a voice and people with lived experiences who are given a place around the table and are able to decide and co-decide, and to operate on a basis of trust. And all of these, I think, are really moments that give me hope and things that I want to continue to stimulate. And it doesn't mean that we've done good enough. I agree with the ambassador saying that if we continue doing as we did over the past 10 years, we're not going to get anywhere. And I think we know that. Within Philea, we did a survey about 21st century philanthropy, and we asked foundations what the biggest risks were internally in terms of how we function, how we operate. And the top 4 internal risks that were mentioned were conservative boards, number 1, slow adaptation, number 2, elitism, number 4, and working too much inside, number 3, can't count anymore after 3 days, and working in silos as number 4. So these are things that we're aware of, and these are things that we can do something about, and that is what I am excited about. So, as CEO of a philanthropy infrastructure organization, what I'm committed to do is to continue creating spaces for foundations to learn from each other, to collaborate, to build knowledge, to be challenged and to be inspired. And I think that by creating those spaces, we can actually do a better job at transforming. We can do a better job at navigating all of these crises that we've talked about because we're doing it together. And then kind of leaving me with that idea of that metaphor that you suggested we would draw. The metaphor that I draw is actually the metaphor that we have within our organization for the ecosystem and for philanthropy at large. And it's a metaphor of a forest with very old trees and a forest with very young species. And what they share is a soil. And through that soil, they're able to nurture each other. And they create a collaborative function and a collaborative system that helps create oxygen for the world. So if I look forward in 10 years, I hope that forest will be strong and healthy, and I hope it will help communities around it to thrive. So that's my metaphor.
Thank you very much, Delphine. Round of applause. Okay. Naila, one takeaway from you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much to Wings, the entire Wings team, for yet another incredible forum. This is the 3rd forum that I attend, the 2nd that I attend as a member of the board. It has been the pleasure and the pride of my career to be a board member at this organization. My term ends this December, but anyway, it has been really an exceptional pleasure, so thank you so much. And thanks for letting me speak at the very closing plenary to share some of my reflections. So I run an organization of donors and funders and other philanthropy actors that work across the Arab region. And you know, to pick up on something that Delphine was saying around the question of the existence of this sector, for my region, if this sector did not exist, much of my region would fail to exist as well. So I have a very vested interest in ensuring that the philanthropy sector continues to exist and exist in a way that is contributing and in a way that is making positive impact. So the last 3 days, there's been a lot of information coming at us, a lot of really inspiring kind of thoughts and suggestions that have been shared, some of them a little more scary than others, a little more frightening than others in terms of bringing some things to the forefront and some questions that maybe some of us are afraid to ask. So my takeaways from all of that would be, I think I kind of identified 4 really key main things that I will take back to my network and then forward to my sector at large. And the first is around collaboration. It's a buzzword, I know, it's exhausting, but I think the challenge that I would put forth, not only to my sector in my region, but to all of you in this room, I'm so tired of saying this word over and over and over again at every single meeting. And you know, just 2 days ago, I was sitting in a round table with some of my colleagues and comrades and peers from the East African philanthropy networks and networks across the continent, and we said yet once again, we need to collaborate, we need to make this happen. And in the end, we just said, you know, we just have to stop saying that we need to do it. We just need to do it, right? Stigmata, we just need to do it. I mean, you and I met 8 years ago, and we still haven't done it. So that's one thing. And so to really use the word, but also to be the word, right? Walk the talk, which is part of, you know, one of the themes of this year's forum. So that's one thing. And not to complicate it, right? So I mean, I don't think collaborations are that complicated. If we have a common purpose, just reach out and let's just do something, whatever it is, and then let it build from there. The second, which is kind of like the bane of my existence, is around data. And yet again, it has been proven to me that data matters. It matters. It matters in every single aspect of the work that we do. Again, for me, the urgency around data is coming from a region and a sector that almost has no data to support the impact that we make, to support identifying the gaps where our sector can make an impact. And so that's one thing that we as an organization have made one of our strategic program thematic areas. It hasn't always been very popular, and I think a part of that had to do with the need for us to demystify what that meant when we talk about data. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the big science, big data kind of thing that's difficult to unpack, but really just even as simple as collecting information on who, what, when, where, how, and why are we doing what we're doing. The third theme that arose for me out of these 3 days is climate, obviously. I just had my annual meeting 3 weeks ago in Cairo with about 140 individuals from 25 countries, including 22 countries of the Arab region, and we focused almost exclusively on climate as one of our thematic areas. And part of the push for me for climate is that, again, I work and live in a region where the climate crisis has made some of the biggest impacts with a lot of the fewest contribution. So it hasn't been easy to get people to understand why it's important for them to fund climate and why the crisis is ever looming. I promised Delphine yesterday that I wouldn't be as doom and gloom as I have been in the past. So I'm just going to leave it at that and just say that I think, as practitioners in this sector, it really is incumbent on us to make it very clear to our networks, not only that they need to contribute to this, but how they can do that. And again, so demystifying the terror of the climate crisis. And then lastly, and I think probably for me the most important, which is again in keeping with the theme of this year's forum, is around transformation. And I really urge all of us to take this very, very seriously and think about what it means when we say we want to transform the funding environment. I run, again, a network of donors and funders that work in the space. I hesitate to use phrases like trust-based philanthropy and, oh, we should all be so lovely with each other and we should come from a trusting place, and then just leave it at that without explaining what it really means when we talk about shifting a power, what it really means when we talk about decolonization of aid. I would say that from my vantage point, we have to decolonize ourselves first. I was raised in an environment where a lot of these issues came out of being, I'm half Palestinian, half Egyptian. You can't get more colonized than that. And so it's been, it's an embedded kind of issue in my personal life. And then seeing it from the perspective of the network that I lead, we have to start with ourselves first and understand that we have certain rights to ask our funders to respect. We have certain boundaries that we have the right to request and demand. If there's money that's coming our way, or if there's money that we're giving that isn't in line with people's values, or that is, attaching strings that are corrupt, we have the right to refuse that money. I've done that myself on 2 occasions, much to my board's dismay, but because it's a value that I believe in. And so I think the challenge really is, again, we have these beautiful big words and these beautiful kind of themes around walk the talk, transforming philanthropy, et cetera, but we have to be a lot more critical of how we propose to do that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Delphine and Naila. I'll invite you to stay there for a minute because we've got a special guest who's joining us virtually.
Hello everyone. I'm sorry I'm not in Nairobi with you, but I'm pleased to be able to share my support and enthusiasm for the work Hello everyone. I'm sorry I'm not in Nairobi with you, but I'm pleased to be able to share my support and enthusiasm for the work you're doing. Thank you to Benjamin and the WINGS team for asking me to join you virtually. Supporting infrastructure and vibrant ecosystems for philanthropy has been an important and central part of the Ma Foundation strategy for the last 5 decades. That's why I'm so pleased that WINGS has asked me to help announce a new award, one that will recognize and encourage funders that support the ongoing development and transformation of our field. Beginning in 2024, the WINGS Ecosystem Funder Award will be given to an individual or organization that's making an extraordinary contribution to developing the field and ensuring it can meet its fullest potential. You know, as I think about this new award, I can't help but think about my father, Bill White. He led the Mott Foundation for half a century, and he was passionate about the role of philanthropy in helping everyone exercise what he described as their charitable impulse. He was a strong advocate for foundations, no matter what their areas of focus, to contribute to building the field of philanthropy. At its 2014 forum in Istanbul, WINGS recognized his work with its Imagine Award, and I know it meant a great deal to him personally. He was deeply committed to the idea of a philanthropy ecosystem, and he'd be proud to see what WINGS and all of you have accomplished since then. I believe this new award will be a meaningful and encouraging endorsement from the field for whoever receives it. Just as important, I hope it will also be a call to action for other funders. The work you're doing is more important than ever, and it deserves robust support. At Mott, we're preparing for our 100th anniversary in 2026. So we've been reflecting on our first century and planning for our next. Like all of you, we're looking out on a world facing tremendous threat, but also opportunity. The next century, the next decades, will be a period of great change. Together, we must address and respond to the climate emergency, the profound impacts of artificial intelligence, rising economic inequality, racial and ethnic injustice, and many other issues. When I think of the role philanthropy support organizations played during the pandemic and in response to the war in Ukraine and how they step up every day in communities around the world, I'm reminded of why we and others have invested in this ecosystem for decades. Together, we've achieved a lot, and we have an incredible foundation on which to build on. This is the result of years of investment and hard work from many funders and practitioners in the field to build a wide range of networks, associations, advisories, support organizations, academic centers, funding organizations, and giving mechanisms that we have today at every level, from local to global. However, as the Philanthropy Transformation Initiative reminds us, we must keep innovating and strengthening this infrastructure and ecosystem. We must expand and deepen it to ensure that it's ready to meet the challenges and opportunities we face and be inclusive. I'd like to thank WINGS for the great work it's doing, and to thank all of you for your leadership, creativity, dedication, and contributions to the field. Your work deserves our support, and I hope this award will inspire funders across the world to do more. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
There are colleagues here who will carry that back to him. So first of all, thanks to Ridgway, to Naila, and also to Delphine. And thanks to the CS Mott for the Transformation Funders Award, I think is there. So actually Disruption now pays. It's official. So you could do interesting work and get an award for it. All right, let's do this. I think we've got a few minutes before we close off, and I think it would be really great to have us discuss on our tables a little bit our takeaways from the last 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to give you a minute to change tables if you don't like the people sitting next to you. But otherwise, for the rest of us, we're going to embrace the people who are there. Let's take 10 minutes just to share our metaphors and also to share some insights and way forward. And thanks to the two of you. Let me invite you to take your tables also. Well done. Thank you. Okay, 10 minutes. What did you get? What are you giving each other? Okay, a couple more minutes. We've gone a little bit over 10 minutes, but enjoy the exchange.
Challenges the drummers aren't here. I told them to proceed, so I'm just trying to get in touch with Gideon, and I can't. So that's my timing.
Okay, let me invite you to begin to wind up. And maybe I can ask the photographers to come to the front of the room. I'm going to give you a moment. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. If I can have your attention here. Thank you. Hopefully most of you got to share your metaphors and your declarations. Okay. I'm going to ask us to do something just for the purpose of the... These must be Kenyans or Zimbabweans. Okay, so we do have something in the world called the happiness index, but I don't know if we have like the unhappiness index, but I would suspect that some of you here are representing, okay, now I threaten you, you keep quiet. Okay, very good, okay, I'll stop that. Let me invite our photographer who has been taking photographs for the whole time. What's your name? What's your name? Eric. Okay, let me just ask for a round of applause for Eric. And the colleagues at the back. They will be thanked appropriately, but I'm going to ask Eric to take a step back and maybe even lean like this. Can I ask you to hold up your metaphors as a piece of paper so that Eric can capture all of them together in one photograph? Okay. Okay, at this point people said I didn't do the homework. Okay, you have to do your homework. Yeah. All right, here we go. On the count of 3, 3, 2. Okay, hold on a sec. Again, it's like a voters. Okay. It's actually like an Amnesty General Assembly. Hold up your ballots, please, ladies and gentlemen. Plus. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's a photograph, so no voice necessary. All right, thank you very much. Take the opportunity to post them. WINGSForum 2023, and let's try and trend again. Confuse Kenya. Love it. All right, here we go. So I'm going to create a bit of time for us just in the plenary, and I'll ask the Ethiopians and the Kenyans and the Jamaicans to have the microphones ready, because we'll need to get them to people as quickly as possible. Do I have runners? Good, okay. Yeah, this is definitely looking like Jamaicans. All right, here we go. So let me invite a couple of you to just share what you're taking away, and I'll ask you to keep it short. It can be a comment or a question. Comments are probably more appropriate this time, but whatever you'd like to share in a minute or so. Who would like to share a takeaway? I have one there. Let's take a few at a time. I have a second one here. So keep your hands up until you get a mic. Any others? Yeah. Where's my friend Grace Maingi? Just to put her on the spot. Oh, she's over there. Her hand is over there. Okay, if you can give that person there. She's a host of the forum, so I hope she's taking something away. All right, great. Okay, let's start here. And a minute, your name and your comment.
So, good evening. Oh, it's probably afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Vincent, Zorko Vincent. I'm from Uganda. I'm with the local coalition Accelerator. My key takeaway, just shared with my colleagues here, is for the first time I figured that it's possible to have difficult conversations. I've always had it as a recommendation and never had it as an actual thing. But for the first time, I had a very difficult conversation about decolonizing aid and the practicality of localization. So yeah, that's my key takeaway.
Okay. Thank you very much. And with a voice like that, the next WINGS conference will be moderated by you. I've declared it already. Yeah.
So my name is Paula Fabiani. I'm from the Institute for the Social Development in Brazil. And my key takeaway is urgency. There are many threats: climate, artificial intelligence, the fall of democracy, and I think it's imperative that we invest in leadership that is transformative but also propositive, bringing more solutions, more collaboration, and not only critiques. And I feel a recommendation just to have other actors here, maybe the markets, the capitalists, and governments as well, because we depend on them to make change on a global scale. Thank you.
Great comment, thank you. Let's go back to somewhere in Kilimani. So that's a plug for a foundation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Grace Maingi from the Kenya Community Development Foundation. We really want to see more focus on the emergent system that sees communities really as co-investors, where there's mutually assured thriving and more philanthropy support that really brings the structural shift. So a big plea from my table: next time, could we have more funders in the room? Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Do not exclude the funders. Yes.
Hi, my name is Sarita Sehgal. I'm from the Partnering Initiative, one hat that I wear. It's been my first time at a WINGS conference. I'm quite new to philanthropy, but it's been really exciting, and I'm very pleased to hear what the speaker just said about the collaboration. Let's get started and let's start doing it, because that's how we'll learn to collaborate better. I think that's really exciting, and TPI can help, so I'll just put that out there. But I also studied ancient Indian philosophy and was very intrigued by all the conversation around transformation and how it all needs to start with us. And for me, philanthropy is giving, right? We're giving. But in ancient Indian philosophy, we talk about different forms of giving. And we say that material giving is actually the lowest form of giving. And that next form, the next higher would be your time, right? We all talk about how much time it takes to collaborate, but give your time. The next higher is emotional support, so compassion for those we're working with. And even higher is intellectual giving, so knowledge, etc. But the highest form of giving is transforming yourself and developing yourself, because then you become a beacon for change, and others will follow in your footsteps. And so I just thought that was really, I was really excited to hear that everybody wants to transform, but it does start from within, and so it takes a lot of reflection. So I just wanted to invite everyone to walk away with that.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. I wonder if I could just play something forward with Matt Reeves, because the metaphor exercise that we've been working with was really his child. And as any good children, it takes a village to raise one, but it's always the parents who should really get the credit. Matt, do you have a closing thought for us? And it's only because you were standing at the back there and I could see you and you could not escape.
I'll come a bit forward. Hi, yes, I do have a closing thought, actually. I have a story to share with you.
Uh-huh.
Forgive me.
This is all spontaneous. Okay, completely spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Ignore the piece of paper.
I was not told to share a closing thought. So this story is called Golden Threads, and I offer it as my gift to everybody as we leave today. All the animals in the land had heard stories of a wondrous bay on the other side of the continent. For the sake of argument, let's call it the Bay of Transformation. They'd heard rumors of the turquoise ocean, of trees with delicious fruits, the crystal clear rivers that fed the bay, and the warm tropical climate. They decided that they all wanted to visit the bay and that they would travel together. But as they began to make their plans for the journey, they realized they were going to face some challenges. The land mammals wanted to travel to the bay on foot. Most of the birds, except for ostrich and emu, thought they should travel by air. Meanwhile, the fish and their good friend penguin felt they should circumnavigate the coastline as they could remain safe in the water. The daytime animals argued they should travel while the sun lit their way, and the nighttime animals said they should go while they could follow the light of the stars. The animals bickered and bickered until it seemed they would never reach an agreement. Eventually, Spider scuttled forward. "We can each go our own way to the bay," she said. "I will help to keep everyone together by giving each animal one of my special golden threads to hold. Every evening, I will tug on the golden threads and we'll come together to share what we're learning and ensure that every animal is doing okay." All the animals agreed that this was a wonderful idea, and so Spider wove each one of them a special golden thread to help them remain in contact. The next day, the animals set off. The mammals along the ground, the birds in the air, the fish and penguin in the sea, the daytime animals in the day, and the nighttime animals at night. The first evening came, and Spider tugged on the golden threads. All the creatures came together to tell their success stories and lessons learned from their journeys. They were in this together, and it felt good. The second evening came, and Spider tugged on the threads once again. And most of the animals came together, except for a few of the birds. Those birds who did come explained that they'd already reached the bay by air. And some of them hadn't wanted to come back, because it was as beautiful as the stories they'd all heard. This made some of the slower animals feel a bit envious and left out. On the third evening, Spider gave birth to 1,000 spiderlings. Google it. As spiders sometimes do. That evening, she had more important things to do than tug upon the golden threads. Over time, the animals muddled their way towards the bay. Some got there quicker, some got there slower, and some were distracted by other bays and didn't get there at all. Occasionally, on the rare evenings when our spiderlings were all asleep, Spider would tug once again on the golden threads and bring the animals together. There they would join to dance and tell wonderful stories of their adventures. And at such times, they would remember just how much they enjoyed spending time together and how much they could learn from each other. I feel a bit like those animals after these 3 days together. So I feel like Wings is a lot like the spider in the story. Yep, Benjamin. Giving us all golden threads, but not just Benjamin, like the entire Wings team. Giving us all golden threads and tugging us to come together, where we're telling our wondrous stories and dancing together. eating lots of food, lots and lots of food. And I wonder what we can all do at the end of this wonderful week to help Wings with that role of holding these golden threads for us. I was asked to make a commitment, and my commitment is I'm a co-chair of the funders working group at Wings, and I think there's more that I can do to help with those golden threads of the funders working group, to maybe grow the group a bit and find ways to keep it energized. But I've also met so many people from Kenya and East Africa and all around the world doing incredible work over the last few days, and maybe I can keep some golden threads myself with them. And so I invite us all to recommit as we go back to our lives, as we go back to our emails and our video conferences and all the things that keep us busy, to think about how we can maintain those golden threads that we've built together between us, that we've woven together over the last few days.
Thank you, Matt. So if I can challenge Matt a little bit, knowing that everything goes into the internet gets chewed up by some animal called AI, I'm going to ask him if he can post that somewhere where we can pick it and share it. Thank you, Matt. Great. Okay. I think we can smoothly move to the next point. I'm going to ask the colleagues to put up the Mentimeter. Thanks, Matt. Oh, apparently this is a double act. So Willeke is going to join you. Spontaneously, of course.
Okay, so sorry about that, yeah. We thought Willeke was going to do it, but we can improvise.
We take ballet at this moment. Yeah. Like, we can even just do ballet.
So thanks for the opportunity just to share a commitment. We were talking about collaborations coming up quite a lot. So I'm Matt Patton. I'm the Enabling Environment Facilitator for Catalyst 2030, for a global movement of 3,000 social entrepreneurs, accelerating the SDGs by taking a systems change approach. But why am I standing here now? Collaboration is within the DNA of our organisation. It is difficult, I heard somebody saying that before. It's not easy, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing it. So together with WINGS and with Resource Alliance, we bring together international communities of philanthropists, social innovators and resource mobilizers representing the voice of civil society, and more importantly, the people and the community with whom we work. Transformation means an overhaul. It's not change. It's not adapting the existing system, but a complete overhaul, a transformation of the system. That means that we really need to bring different stakeholders together to solve this complexity. It means action. There's very little time, and we've heard that a lot this week. It's time to act. So what do we do? What do we commit to? Looking at our combined international communities of WINGS, Catalyst 2030, and Resource Alliance, we commit to build an ecosystem of doers, actively bringing the different stakeholders together to stop siloed thinking and doing, and to stop fragmentation, and to create a strong collective voice. It's about our common purpose, and purpose moves beyond our independent networks or logos. We commit to use each other's networks to start showcasing best practices and to center the voice of our communities and the people we work with, and by doing so, challenging others directly. Why have you not transformed yet? Why have you not shifted your power yet? And stop the how-to discussing, shifting the dialogue to why did you not shift yet? We're aligned, and it's time for action. We think it's enough rhetoric. So please share your examples with us and best practices so that we can amplify them through our networks and across the globe. Share your ideas, your thoughts, and come together with us to collaborate. And that's our commitment. Join us.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you to all of you who have made new commitments on the basis of the last 2.5 days. Allow me now just to drop mic, as they would do, but I can't really physically do that because I will be asked to pay for the mic because it gets broken, right? So it's a lovely thing to say drop mic, but actually somebody will charge you for it. Just to say it has been a real pleasure to have moderated this last couple of days, and just to thank you all. I have had a very personal, selfish reason for doing this, and that was because as Amnesty International Kenya, we are going to develop a social justice philanthropy program next year. So I was really doing this as a way of energizing my own practice around this area. And just to say that the Hoover app, so I'm going to correct that before you go out into the world and say, well, Hoover. The Hoover app apparently stays alive longer than the duration of the conference. So please continue to connect with people, continue to curate the information that's there, and really to build the relationships that would make a lot of sense. Allow me now to hand over to Samira Amira, who has probably the best title. It's the kind of title that all of us would love to have when we grow up, and that is the Collective Intelligence and Advocacy Director. Over to you, Samira.
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? I'm going to stand up here because I am short, so that's as simple as that. How is everyone doing? You're in Africa, you got to be louder, you got to be noisier, and it's the last 5-10 minutes of this forum, so we have to leave with a bang, so I'm going to ask again. How's everyone doing? That's right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us at WINGSForum 2023. Thank you for bringing your energy, your enthusiasm, your ideas, your challenge, your questions, your participation, your engagement. You have made WINGSForum 2023. When we started, we came up with a program. We've had 9 plenaries with fantastic, inspiring speakers that have not just told us to nudge our thinking, but shifted to look at our deep coding. We've had 18 member-led breakout sessions with over 60 collaborators who've helped us then translate what this actually means and how do we actually end up doing it, and take a deeper dive into many different topics and themes. We've had 5 WINGS working group meetings led by our co-chairs and the WINGS team. It's been a crazy program to put together. We hope you enjoyed it, but I would just like you to give yourselves, the plenary speakers, the collaborators, our members who put the member-led sessions together, our working group co-chairs, a big round of applause. When we as the WINGS team were putting the program together, we've been talking and thinking transformation for quite a while. And as we were thinking about it, one of the things that struck us was that in order to transform, it's a layered journey, it's a layered process. It begins with us as individuals. We have to shift our ideas, shift our thinking, shift our mindsets. We need to step in to conversations that are uncomfortable, that are difficult, to be comfortable with that discomfort. And that in itself is going to be the core of what changes organizations and changes the field. So then we said, we need to think of how we bring these spaces together and how we look at these different layers. And that's where the Garden of Experimentation came up. So the idea was really to place individuals, to place you as individual practitioners at the core and say, okay, how do we use and create different spaces to think about transformation? And so we thought about art, we thought about music, we thought about guided conversations, we thought about storytelling around 2 themes, failures and how do we build a collective transformation movement. We also were very, very clear about the word experiment. We were like, we'll do things. Some of it might work, some of it might fail, but we're going to give it a go. And also, we're going to make sure that we create and give a little space for things that come up spontaneously. So what did we end up with in the Garden of Experimentation? Well, we ended up with, and let me make sure I don't forget anything, a failure lab, fairy tales of transformation, difficult conversations, ripples through an organization, elephant in the room or on the terrace, working with Legos and building upon each other's work. Artists who have helped us bring through and think about collective action in a different ways, and massages. If you missed this, I will post this on Wahova app. There was a meeting that was happening outside where the massage tables or massage chairs are right now, and I was like, isn't this the future of meetings? Well-being and work. That's it. So the principles. So I'd like to welcome Patrick, Isaac, and Samson to the stage. I'm just going to give them a moment to put up their artwork. Yes? Our artwork. Sorry. Yeah. So this is the artwork but that Patrick, Isaac, and Samson have helped us create over the past 2.5 days. Patrick was introduced to me by Matt, and I was like, and this was after a conversation, we were like, we need to do something with art. What could we do? And we want to make something, we want it to be tactile. And he's like, let me introduce you to Patrick. And Patrick has been doing this since he was 10 years old. He was really bothered about the fact that there was poor waste management systems in his community. And so for him, he wanted to think about, well, how can you create awareness about waste management? And how can you get people to think about recycling and not creating trash? And well, this is what he has done. And one of his highlights so far is that in 2014, you were at the Smithsonian Folk Festival. Yes. Representing Kenya, yes. And so whilst that was one of his highlights, I'm hoping that this, hopefully, will be another. I would like a microphone very quickly. Ah, there we go. Patrick, if you'd like to say a few words about the work that you've been doing here.
Yeah, look how much we can achieve all together. So we came with blank boards, and we thought, with combined effort all of us, we can come with 3 pieces of art with some meaning. So that's Tree of Hope. We all need some hope in life, kind words. And then, so these 2 represented what you may be having, whether it's wealth, goodness, happiness that you can spread to other people. And so we were able to achieve that by just, doing mosaic on the board. And the fact that we used glass shards that we've collected from all over, people call it trash. I say it was a resource in the long race. So we've collected these shards for over 10 years, and how amazing to see them put together. So actually, by doing that, we were able to show what collective effort can achieve. It was supposed to be 3 days, but I have to admit it's like 3 hours of work. Just putting little pieces, little effort, and we can transform, well, a piece of board here, but the world in entirety. So thank you so much for... So thank you so much for everyone who participated, and we wouldn't have done it in that record time alone. And it wasn't our piece of art, it was all of your piece of art. So thank you so much for organizing it and for having us.
Thank you so much, Patrick. That was great. If you'd like, thank you so much. Great. Thank you. So if you'd like to meet the artists, an in-conversation session, just spontaneous, they'll be right here. Thank you, Patrick, Isaac, and Samson, for helping us create these masterpieces. So, well, what are we going to do with these masterpieces now? Yes. So, the masterpiece, which is building out hope and connections, we were thrilled to host the WINGSForum 2023 in Nairobi, in Kenya, in Africa for the first time. And we have been delighted to partner with APN as our co-host. So Stigmata Tenga, ED of the APN, I would like to welcome you on the stage as our co-host and present this masterpiece for all your work and your partnership for us. This is it. Thank you so much. Great. Thank you so much for your partnership. It's been great to work with APN and then, of course, our host committee, which is EAPN, the Foundation for Civil Society, KCDF, CivSource, and Aga Khan Foundation, to bring this to life. Thank you so much, Stigmata, for your energy, enthusiasm, and for working with us. There's one piece, the web, the connections, again, building out hope and interconnections, which we would like as Wings to take back with us. How? I don't know. But the reason we're doing this is because we want a reminder of your collective efforts and your thinking and your ideas and your insights and of the past 2.5 days. We want to make sure that we keep a bit of something of you with us. And well, the Tree of Hope, we'd like to gift to our guide for the past 2.5 days. Irungu, would you like to join me on stage in a slightly different role?
Should either APN or Wings not be able to take theirs, as Amnesty International Kenya, we will hold them for you till you come back.
Yeah. So I believe Irungu spent 30 minutes. Yeah. 30 minutes yesterday working on this piece, so there was already a connection right there. When we reached out to Irungu to say, hey, would you like to MC WINGSForum 2023? And he said yes. We were like, fantastic. Then Liana and I got on our first call with Irungu, and we were like, let's see where this conversation is going to go. And he's like, I'm really excited about this. I'm going to do this for I'm happy to give my time. We worked through the agenda, and the day we spoke to Irungu, I remember it because we were in the weeds of WINGSForum. You know, the administrative stuff where you're wondering where this is going to go, whether you're actually going to land it or not. You can tell me in our feedback surveys, but for now, we've landed. And we're like, oh my God. And then we get on a call with Irungu, and he's like, yeah, tell me the concept, the ideas. And he translated everything into a more eloquent, inspiring discussion. There was language that just translated the idea into something that became a moment. And we walked away from that conversation feeling inspired. Every conversation has been like that. I can say many things. You have been, your energy, your jokes, the way you walk the room, the audience participation, there's so much I could say, but the one thing that I will highlight is the care that you have given us. When I say care, what I mean by that is the attention to detail. We've done walkarounds of this room, and Irungu will be like, the pot is not right. Let me get this fixed. Or, have you thought of these ideas? Can I do some outreach for you? Or let's think through the flow, and does it really work? It's care. It's making sure everything is working, and there is this kind of, like, this is when you know you work in the sector, when you think of ownership as the right word in a conversation, but it's not. I'm going to call it care. It has been amazing. You have been so much more than the MC that we could have imagined. Thank you so much for creating this atmosphere, for bringing this energy, and for hosting and helping us host WINGSForum 2023.
Thank you very much.
I am now going to hand it over to our fearless leader, Benjamin, who is going to give his closing remarks.
This is working, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Samira. It was a great wrap-up. I feel there's not much to add. I'm not going to add much. I think also your comments and all your takeaways we saw on the screen were really inspiring. They were great, and I think they were reflecting the depth of ideas that were presented, that were discussed, their diversity, and it reflects your enthusiasm and your engagement that we've seen during these 2.5 days. So it's a special moment to close this event. I think we've been waiting for it for so many years, and it's been really beyond our expectations in terms of how we've been able to reconnect with everyone, to create new thinking, to engage, and to build hope. I know we started this whole conference on the poly-crisis and on, really existential issues and hard conversations, but I think we needed to go through this to be able to reach a point of really trying to transform, trying to become transformative in society, and I really feel like something has happened in this room over these 2.5 days. So it's really great for us to see this, and as it was said by some of our colleagues and members, we're committed, of course, to continue this journey, to make things happen, to support you as you try to engage your own constituencies, your own members and partners into a pathway towards transformation. So just a few things that I personally particularly enjoyed, and one was the honesty of the conversations. It was real, and I think, as Delphine said, there was like an emotional dimension which you don't find very often, and I think that we need, because we're humans, right? So if we want to change our world and make it more human, if we don't tackle these dimensions, we're not necessarily going to go very far. There was the engagement, the commitment to action. The rooms were full all the time. Everyone was participating, and that was really, you know, that felt like energized and energizing for everyone. We had a diversity of voices, a diversity of perspectives, of generations, of sectors, of regions, which, of course, maybe there is. We need more diversity. That was brought by Paola, and that's true. I agree. We need to bring more diversity and other actors into the room. But we had some of that, and that helps us also not be in an echo chamber and be connected to the reality that surrounds us and that we're aiming at transforming. And then there were these deep reflections. I loved the concept brought by Jessica Horn around the Utu, which I had never heard of, but I thought was very appropriate for our discussion on transformation, this ethical infrastructure that can bring about change in both individuals and institutions. So that was a takeaway for me. And then your commitments that were not planned at all, as you've noticed, and your concrete ideas. This is something very important if we want this to not just be a great conversation, but the beginning of a movement toward transformation. So I think all the ingredients are here. So now it's up to you and up to us to really make things happen and continue. So I hope you're leaving with new ideas, with new energy, with new connections, and I think that's what's happening now, and that we've heard from you, and thanks for sharing your feedback already. We will announce only next year the next WINGSForum, so we'll keep a little bit of secret around that, but it will be in 2026, so we have a little bit of time, but there will be a process next year, and there will be a call also open to our members to propose co-hosting proposals, depending on the region that will be picked by our board, but this is something you'll hear from us only next year, so for now, patience, patience and be in touch, of course, keep sharing what's going on in your work. So to really close this wonderful event in what I think is the best possible way, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize all the incredible people that have made this event possible, and I want to invite them to come on stage so that they can receive your ovation. And well, let me start, of course, with our host committee and with our host, Stigmata, Francis Evans, Grace. So if you can just come and join me on stage so that we can start, being together. I'll call other colleagues that have made this possible, but a big thank you to the host committee for welcoming us here. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. And Matt, feel free to, if you're still around, we'd love to have you. We also had a wonderful planning committee because we talked about the design of this event and the flow. And some of them, not all of them are here, but some of them are here. So please, for those of you who have been part of this planning committee that has worked on the content, on the program, we would like to invite you to join us as well. Can you, if we have a few, we have Delphine who is here. We have, I think, Rodrigo also. You are not here? No? Well, let's make some space. I'm going to call a few more people, so get ready, because this is not the end yet. Indeed, it takes a lot of people to make a great event. So I'm going to continue. And we don't have all our board members in the room now, but we have a few of our board members and some of our new board members who will start with us next year. So I'm going to call our board members to come on stage, please. Well, some of them have two hats. All right. Well, I'm going to call Irungu again, because Irungu, you had your ovation, but you can get a second one, Join us. And that's where we're going to need some space I want us to make a big, big ovation to the entire WINGS team that has been incredible in setting this event. So a big, big thanks to the WINGS team. Please join us, come on stage. Everyone. Everyone. Yes. We won't escape it. Come, 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 come. Yes. Natalia, Nadia, Maria Eugenia, Erika, Via, Patricia, lots of A's. Carla, Cecilia, Garima, Rafaela, Naira, Prince, Amit, Nayara, Liana, all right, Mehul, Antonio, and of course our wonderful Samira that has been really putting all of this together. So also a big thanks, special thanks to you, Samira. And where is Linda, by the way? She hasn't. Okay, Linda, please join us, of course, our coordinator. And now is music time. So those who feel it, they can start moving their bodies as we learn here. It seems like it's a good way to start, but it might be also a good way to end if some of you feel like this. So a round of applause for our musicians, and let's get the music going. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. The music can continue. We're done. Thank you. Thank you so much. And maybe this time the snake will work. Last time it didn't work, but maybe this time it works. You can continue even if I speak, huh? You know, I'm also a singer. I won't sing, but... So I was saying we can try the snake. It didn't work last time, but who knows? As we're exiting this room, we could give it a second try, or not. But please, another round of applause for everyone. A big thank you to all of you. See you soon. We're done, so I don't know, we can exit in whatever way makes sense.
The WINGSForum 2023 is now officially over. Tosha, you have been served.